Okay, I'm going to go over some of the challenges that people have with a single arm swing, a single arm kettlebell swing, and that is that when you do a two-handed swing, it's a lot easier to balance because you have both hands in front of your body, your shoulders are relatively stable, at least they should be, and you're not having to coordinate a limb that's just out there doing nothing. So you could say that a single arm swing in that aspect is harder. It's more difficult to do. There's more of a stability challenge on your core, and there's more of a symmetry challenge because to keep everything level and balanced is pretty hard to do. But it can be done to some degree, and this is really for people that have already done the two-handed swing where you have both hands on the kettlebell handle, and then this would be a progression, is a single arm swing. So the single arm swing should look shockingly similar to the two-handed swing. Okay, so it look very, very similar. Then one of the main things is that when you look at the single arm swing from the profile, it should pretty much be exactly the same. It should basically be the same swing. But when you go head on, that's when you're going to see a hand here. It's going to be in a different place, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be in the same position. I'm not convinced that having your hand here or here or here, I don't really know what's best, but I do know that when you come up in your swing, you want to try to keep some symmetry in your balance. If I'm in the swing and I'm rotated at the top, there's going to be a lot of torque in my lower back. So whatever method or technique we can do that minimizes the torque in the back and keeps most of the work in the hips, that would be the goal. So I give you a couple of ideas. So first thing to do is, if we just look at the basic swing, assuming that you have a good swing, a good two-handed swing, is that your height position should be identical. So whether I'm doing single arm or two-handed, that's not going to change. You still need a launching pad. You still need space. You still need enough length in there to get some speed so that you can load up your hips, right? So number one hand, two-handed, you've got to get that length. So I shoot my hips back, I create length in my hamstrings, my weight is back, I tilt the kettlebell back, and then Now one of the things that I like to do for beginners is as you come up, you could literally tap the handle. And what that does is when you come up and you tap the handle like this, it kind of levels out the clavicles instead of kind of being like this. So where you come up and maybe you're like this, where you're letting the kettlebell pull you too far forward, that's the challenge with a single arm swing. So as I'll do it from the knees, as you come up, you don't want to let this drag you, right? So you can see how, if you look at me from this angle, it's going to rotate me. So there needs to be some cue of kind of pulling the shoulder in, and maybe even better, as you come up, bring the other hand up to tap the handle, just tap it, so that there's symmetry in your shoulders, right? It's tap, tap. And then eventually, maybe you just hold your hand here or bring it there, but you want to be very mindful that you're keeping the shoulders as symmetrical as you can. So that would be my biggest cue, would be to bring the other hand forward to tap the kettlebell or something like that. So we can do this. As far as height, maybe about chest level, even a little bit lower. The heavier you go, the kettlebell swing is not about elevation. It's not about getting the hand overhead. That's the snatch. It's about really driving the energy down. So rather than thinking of pulling the arm up, you're not doing that. Your intention is to basically create length in the bell that way, right? So the force vector is this way, right? As opposed to up. So anyway, those are just some tips. This is a very deep subject we could talk about for a while, but for now, I think that's a really good cue on how to kind of make sure that your single arm swing is, one, safe, but also that you're not leaking power in your spine and you're keeping it in the core and hips. So anyway,